Blank boards, outdated pins, maybe way too many ideas that are scattered everywhere. If this sounds familiar, well, and if you've been wondering why Pinterest isn't bringing you the traffic you want, this is probably why. So today, I'm going to help you whip those boards into shape with simple, doable steps that'll make your Pinterest work smarter for you and not against you. Hey, welcome back to the Pin and Plan podcast. I'm Lisa, your Pinterest pioneer. I'm a bit of a Squarespace nerd, if I'm being honest, and I'm the founder of the Simple Site Lab and Body, Mind, Mood. So if your Pinterest boards are a little bit of a disaster zone right now, you're in good company. Trust me when I say this. Even the most dialed-in small business owners end up with boards that don't match their brand anymore. Maybe they get dusty, or they're just plain overwhelmed and they literally walk away. Today, I'm breaking down exactly how to clean up that mess in a way that makes sense, brings your strategy into the present, and gives Pinterest the clear signals really that it needs to push your content out to the right people. No fluff, no overwhelm, just simple, honest actions that you can actually take away with you from this podcast and do today or tomorrow or maybe later this week. So before we roll up our sleeves and tackle that board mess, let's check in on last week's poll, because really, your answers help to always set the stage for each podcast show. So last week I asked, what type of pins do you struggle with the most? And here's what you told me, okay? And I really want to say I love how real everybody's been. No fluff, no filters. So here we go. 50% of you, 50%, that's a lot, had struggled with freebies and lead magnet pins. 35% of you said product pins or offer pins give you the most difficulty. And I'm guessing that there are some verified merchants who are out there right now listening to this podcast. Tips and educational pins. That was about 15% of you. A lot of you bravely said, hey, all of the above. And I can totally relate to that. And I even had some DMs from people sharing their votes who didn't vote here on Spotify, telling me that they voted all of the above, and even the ones I didn't list. So, right, they weren't specific about that, but that's what they told me. So if you're feeling stuck with what to pin and where to pin it, well, your boards probably don't match your actual goals either. It's like, think of it like trying to make dinner with an empty fridge and a cluttered pantry. It's all there, but it's a little bit of chaos. Okay, we're going to fix that, starting with why cluttered or abandoned boards hold your account back on Pinterest. So here's the honest truth. So this is the honest truth. Your boards are really Pinterest's GPS for your content. If they're all over the place, Pinterest won't know how to connect your pins to the people that are actually looking for them. And listen, clutter doesn't just mean old pins, right? Now this next point is really important for you to listen to, and it is definitely a hotly debated topic, even now in the PBC, okay, in the Pinterest business community. Too many boards can be clutter too. That's right, too many boards. I have seen pinners in past who've got like 100 boards, 200 boards. I personally do not, and I don't agree with having so many unless you're legitimately pinning to each and every board on a consistent basis with fresh content, okay? Now, think of it like this. I'm going to just give you a really quick example of what I'm talking about. Suppose you've got 80 boards, right? But only pin to maybe 5 of those boards or maybe 10 of them. Pinterest will see the other 70 or 75 as sort of dead weight on your account. They'll drag down your SEO power, and they definitely confuse the algorithm and on some level agitate the algorithm, right? So the real secret here, fewer, okay? Think fewer boards. Be more focused. So more focused boards. Those are relevant. They're active and clearly labeled. Think of your boards like well-stocked shelves in a boutique, right? Your audience should instantly know what you offer and where to find it. Good boards really are relevant to your offers and your audience, okay? That's one of the messages that it brings forward. Your boards that are consistent, they're focused, they're clear, those are active boards, and you pin consistently to them, not just when you happen to remember. Really good boards are SEO optimized with clear titles and real keywords, right? People know when they go to those boards, they go to your profile, they know what you're doing and what you're offering. So, okay, you know the why, right? That's the why. Now let's move into the how. Here's how you clear, or here's your clear, really step-by-step board cleanup. Okay, now I've created a quick board audit checklist. I will share this down in the show notes, but I'm going to go through this. So get ready for this. Think of this like giving your boards a brand new lease on life. It's not just a tidy up, right? It's aligning your Pinterest presence with your goals. Okay, that's really what boards are. I think at one time Pinterest boards were really just a way to, grab traffic and grab eyes, pinning whatever, whenever, however. But that's all changed. Okay, so the first thing that you need to consider when you're talking about your boards and aligning with Pinterest, with your goals and your strategy, is checking out your board titles. You can absolutely 100% skip the cute but vague names. And I am so guilty of that. Pardon me. I used to do that, but I don't do it anymore. Your title is your keyword. So for example, think of an example like Dreamy Things. This is something I wrote down. Dreamy Things won't get found. That term, Dreamy Things. But if you typed in something like, or added a board title called Minimalist Home Office Ideas, now that would get searched, right? It will definitely get found. Step 2, archive or merge boards that don't fit, right? If a board doesn't match your current offers or you haven't touched it in like 2 or 3 years, let it go. Just let it go. Merge it maybe into a more relevant board so you can keep any good pins that were on that board. Ideally, you can also archive your pins if you want. Just archive the board with those specific pins on it. You can also create a secret board and pin those pins that you love and that maybe got a lot of engagement maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Pin them there, right? And then you can remove the board. So there's a few ways to address it. Number 3, refresh your board descriptions and do this regularly, like once a month, once every 2 months. Write 1 or 2 sentences that clearly state and say what the board is about, using the keywords that people actually search for. Think about how your audience searches for what you do, what you offer. And remember to talk like a human. We're so, absorbed with having perfect copy that we forget that we actually are human beings. And so if you say it in a way that people can really relate to, that ultimately makes a huge difference. And of course, you can pop up with SEO keywords just by talking like a human. Okay. So for example, I'm just going to read this out to you and you can sort of get the idea. Discover cozy modern farmhouse kitchen ideas, easy DIYs, and budget-friendly updates. Now that is something that really is got like almost every SEO keyword going. Pinterest, if I put that into Pinterest, they would love it and it would pull up so much. In the next step, put your best boards up front. So rearranging your boards is always a good idea on a weekly basis, based on time of year. Maybe it's a seasonal thing. Always put your best boards up front. These are the highest impact ones that are at the top. If you run, for example, like I said, seasonal promotions, maybe you've got a product that you sell, maybe it's like a holiday gift guide, something of that nature, move those up when it's time. So if you had a holiday gift guide for Christmas, you might want to, start moving that board up around October or November to get a really, get people really thinking about it. And to my understanding, a lot of people on Pinterest actually start Christmas shopping well before October. Now, filling any gaps. Look at your offers. Do you have boards for each piece of what you do? If you're, for example, like me, I'm a Squarespace designer, but I'm also a fitness trainer. If you have boards for, like, for example, branding tips or website inspiration, maybe SEO basics, make your board support your entire client journey. And if you have, if you're looking at your client journey and you're missing a board that may fit in part of that journey, well, then maybe consider creating the board. Okay? Speak to the client journey. That's one of the best ways to tell your business story, your brand story on Pinterest. Okay? Now that your boards are basically neat and purposeful, right? Ideally, let's make sure they actually show up in search, because that is one of the big things that people come into the PBC and complain about. I've done all this work. I've created all this content. I've pinned. I'm not getting any reach. I've tried searching my pins. I've tried searching my profile. It's not there. What gives? Okay. So here's a short list of tips that you can use when you're talking about, board SEO tips. These tips actually work. They definitely work. So, and again, I will share this down in the show notes just as a reminder. So this is like really a tiny bit of effort in putting into SEO. It's very tiny, but it really does go a long way, especially on Pinterest. So tip number 1, use keywords that people actually search for, right? The words that they'd actually type in when they're looking for solutions or they're looking for a product. Think things like DIY closet organization ideas. That beats out, something like Closet Vibes 2024 pretty much every time. Okay. So, think about those words, make a list, and consider that when you're creating board descriptions, board titles, and even write for your pins. Now, tip number 2, put the main keyword at the beginning of your board title. It carries the most SEO weight, right? Just remember that the main keyword at the beginning of your board title carries the most SEO weight. Write your descriptions like you're talking to your dream client. That's the next one. No more word salad. Don't make a salad, right? And most definitely, no keyword stuffing. See, lots of people stuffing keywords, not just in the Pinterest board descriptions, but also I've seen people do it on their profiles. It looks weird. Like, I'm just going to be honest. It looks really, really weird. So don't do it. Okay? It sends the wrong message to your audience, and maybe people find you. Maybe they're not part of your audience yet. They come across your Pinterest profile. They click on a board. Maybe they found a pin that they really like, and then they see all this keyword stuffing. Not cool. Lastly, keep your boards alive. So what does that mean? It means pin regularly. Now, one thing I know about Pinterest is it loves signs of life. So that, like, I remember I mentioned the dead, sort of the boards that have been sitting there for a few years. They're not doing anything. They don't do anything for the algorithm or for Pinterest. So, pin regularly. Now, if you're only pinning once a week, that's perfectly fine. Nobody said you had to pin every day, 5 times a day. But if you're going to pin once a week, do it regularly. Okay. Now, because we keep it really real around here, I'm going to tackle a real life question that pops up every time I talk about board cleanup, especially in the PBC. Now, this week's cue comes from Sarah in the Pinterest business community, and she asked this: does deleting old pins really help my reach, or is that a myth? Okay. Well, Sarah, it's a great question. Short answer is it does help a little. Like a very little. But don't get sucked into deleting for hours. People spend hours deleting pins, deleting stuff. Pinterest in itself says that fresh pins matter much more than obsessively sort of cleaning out old ones. Okay? So, deleting old pins, it's okay to do it, but spending 4 or 5 hours deleting pins, it's neither here nor there to Pinterest. Pinterest just wants the fresh content. Okay. So yes, if you find pins that are totally off brand, maybe linked to dead pages, maybe the links are broken, or maybe they just don't make sense anymore, sure, clean those out. But your best move always is spending that energy that you would have spent on deleting pins on creating new relevant pins that help push people to your offers right now. Always remember that Pinterest rewards fresh content. Right? We all know this, and I'm just going to keep saying it. Pinterest rewards fresh content. So, all right, I want you to know the fastest thing you can do today, right? And to help your Pinterest boards, help your description, help you get your SEO in check. So let's hit the pin and plan tip of the week, okay? Now, this is, again, second to the Q&A. It's my favorite part of the show. It's pin and plan tip of the week. Here's your quick board checkup. Now, you can do this over your next cup of coffee, maybe after you finish listening to this podcast, or sometime later this week. I have created a board description quick check. It's basically a small checklist. Again, I will share this in the show notes. what I would like you to do, if you can, when you're ready to do this, even if you're doing it right now, pull up 3 top boards from your account and run them through this small quick check. Okay? Check number 1. Does your board or boards, do they clearly explain what the board is about? So if you're looking at your top performing board, is it clearly explaining what the board's about? Right? Or are you looking at a board that maybe isn't doing so well? Again, ask the question, does it clearly explain what the board's about? Check number 2, are you using real keywords that people are actually searching for, that your audience is actually searching for? Okay? Take note of the keywords that are in the description, in the board title, okay? Check number 3, does it sound like you? So, if you were on Pinterest 5 years ago, maybe you've rebranded, maybe you've got another business. Does it sound like you? Does it make sense? Is it promoting your message, your brand message, your business message, right? Check number 3, does it make someone want to follow the board or save the pins, right? When you're looking at your boards, these 3 boards, does it make someone want to follow that board or save pins? If not, then you need to step back and check it out. Okay? Now, check, the next check, is it actually up to date with what you pin right now? Again, going back to boards that have been sitting there for maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years, what you're pinning now is, do those boards, does it connect? Is there a connection? Is it up to date? Right? Does it make sense? Right? Because if it's not making sense to you, then it probably won't make sense to the people that are seeing them. So if you said no to even one of these that I've listed here, that I've talked about, then you need to update that particular board today. And seriously, updating a board based on the quick check, these are tiny tweaks, and they really do help keep giving you sort of that SEO juice for months to come. Okay, it really does help. But I encourage people to change their boards up, tidy their boards up, change titles, change descriptions, or update them on a monthly or every other month basis. I think that's the best policy, really. Now, before you run off to do your board makeover, because I know, when we talk about cleaning up boards, tidying up boards, and you hear new things and new ideas, the first thing you want to do is get it done. Now, I've got something for you to weigh in on, and it's this week's podcast poll. So let's keep it honest, okay? How many boards do you really have right now on your profile? Business or personal, doesn't matter. Do you have less than 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 50, 50 plus? Or maybe you have so many you just have no idea. That is totally possible. So what I would love you to do is vote right here on Spotify. DM me if you want your real number at Body, Mind, Mood, Fit or at the Simple Site Lab. I want to see it, definitely. Let's wrap this up so you can take some action, please. It's a wrap on episode 3. Thank you for joining me. This is your Pinterest board clutter doesn't stand a chance now episode. And here's the takeaway from today. Messy, outdated boards confuse Pinterest and stall your reach. That's just how it is. Too many unused boards are just a bad idea, really. Less is more. Keep it simple. A quick board cleanup and fresh keywords can totally revive not only your boards, but your whole account. Okay, and don't waste hours deleting pins, right? Spend that time, and because it is a lot of time, creating new ones. Now, next week, we're tackling how to get more clicks from your pins, because reach is cute, but clicks bring the results. Okay, there is a definite thing about people sort of focused in on impressions versus actual clicks. So we're going to talk about it. What I would love for you to do is short mini list here. Vote in the poll or DM me your number. At Body, Mind, Mood, Fit or at the Simple Site Lab. You can also find me on PBC at Body, Mind, Mood. I would love for you to join us on the Pinterest business community if you haven't already. Tag me if you do join. I think you'd really love it. And follow me here on Spotify so you never miss these awesome Thursday Truth Bombs, Pinterest Truth Bombs. They're amazing. Until then, keep pinning with purpose, planning with intention, and I will absolutely see you next week on the Pin and Plan podcast, Pinning with Purpose. Bye for now.